Can you guys hear me? Yay! Hi, Joan. Hi, Kathy. How are you guys doing today? We still have about 10 minutes. Yay! Hey, Sue. We still have about 10 minutes, so we can chat for a little bit. On this card, guys, I know the picture shows that party foil in there, but I figured out what's wrong with that card because I was having some issues. Don't want to use party foil. It's not stiff enough for that acetate and it flops over. Hi, Tabitha. Hey, Karen. We'll get started here in a few minutes. We're just chatting. I've had a heck of a time today with having to call insurance companies and everything. I don't know if you guys know it or not, but in July we had some pretty severe storms and lightning struck the tree in my backyard and it ran into my house and it took out my surround sound, my DVD, my TV, my massage chair, and of course damaged the tree out back. And we put in our claim and everything. And hey, Gerald. Hey, Anita. Tabitha. But anyway, to make a long story short, after the $1,000 deductible and they're prorating for the age of my TV and my chair and stuff, I ended up with $800 to take down a $3,000 tree to replace a $2,000 surround sound and TV and a $1,200 chair. $800 just didn't do it. Yeah. Well, I was moving the chair to get a good vacuum, and I was going to put the chair in another room because I have to move it like an inch at a time because it weighs like 300 pounds. And I scooted it maybe 2 inches, maybe, and there's a big burn hole in my carpet where the lightning went out, and it busted the concrete underneath, of course, but we won't be able to see what it did to the foundation till the carpet comes up. The volume is low. Where the lightning went out, it busted the concrete underneath. Let's see. Is that a little bit better? Yeah, so I have them coming tomorrow to give me an estimate on replacing my carpet. So far, it looks promising, but I won't know until I get my estimate. Is that any better, Anne? Hey, Jamie. Hi, Anita. Did I miss anybody else? I got Gerald, Anne. I have the volume all the way up, so is that any better? Good, 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 good. Yeah, Kathy, and hi. I am so glad that it didn't start a fire because it very well could have. But my thing is, my husband had just gone out of town for work. Any other time, he would have been sitting in that chair. Yeah, that gives a new meaning to the electric chair, right? So, I'm just happy that there was nobody sitting in it. Of course, I am missing it greatly because last night my back was hurting so badly I could have used it instead of a pain pill, but it is what it is. Thanks, Ann. We'll get through it. We're blessed. It'll be okay. Nobody got hurt. That's the important thing. It's just, at the end of the day, it's just stuff. So, what kind of projects are everybody working on? Does anybody have any? I'm just going to go ahead and go over to the camera here really quick. Let you guys see me for a few minutes before we get started anyway. Hi. But yeah, it's a little bit stressful, but who knows? Maybe I'll end up with new flooring out of it, so. Me too, Jamie. Me too. That could have hurt somebody really, really bad. Y'all don't pay attention to my hair and stuff. I have been running all day. I have like 10, 12 cups on my desk, and I'm not even halfway through. I think at the end of the day, before Christmas, I have a total of, last count was 38 cups to do. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ready. I've got 6 done, 7 ready for vinyl, and then those 7 will be ready to coat. I've got 3 ready, almost ready. They're drying with paint. So, hi Kathy. What happened was back in July, lightning struck a tree out back and it ran into my house. Took out a massage chair, the whole TV and surround sound, and the carpet, and the tree, of course. Tabitha, it is a water slide, and I printed that on water slide. I got the image off of Google. If I can find it, I will try to create a file for it. I don't know how good it will be, or if I can find the one that I used there, I will do that. I'm not sure if I took it into Design Space and cleaned it up, or if I made an SVG. I think I just loaded it into Design Space and cleaned it up. Your Cricut Explorer died and stopped cutting on one side of images. Anita, did you contact support? Hey, Scrap Chef, or Hetty. Hello. Thanks, Tabitha. Amazingly, guys, the wood grains are the easiest ones to do, in my opinion. Yes, I have a link below in the video description that will links to Cricut, and they've got some great deals for the Black Friday, early Black Friday. If you have access, you'll save 10% on your machine. But Anita, I would contact support too, see if there's anything they can do with the machine. I've never heard of one doing that. Okay, and I'm gonna switch over, guys, to the project camera. I'm gonna show you guys a couple of things. We'll get started here in a couple of minutes, but I wanted to do some recaps on some things. Yes, please hit the thumbs up on the video, guys. Thank you, Jamie, for that reminder, and thank you, Sue, for mentioning the links too. I don't know if all of you guys were with me when we did the tutorial on wood graining the cup. But if you remember, I told you I wasn't sure if my masking was going to work because my cup was still soft because I didn't have time to let it dry within 24 hours. And I said I was going to sand it and just paint it and redo that spot. Well, I didn't. Actually, that right there is where the spot was. I don't know if you guys can see it, where it's kind of pitted. I just inked right over it. I didn't do anything, didn't put anything on it. I just inked right over it. And it gave that really nice wood distressing look. So I think my next one, I may try to mimic that in more spots on the cup and then put the epoxy over it and then my vinyl and another epoxy and see how it comes out. See if it gives it that 3D distressing look, because I really like the way that it turned out and the way it's looking right now. But yeah, I did not, where it peeled the paint and everything, I just left it like it was and smeared some more ink on it and called it a day, and I really like how it turned out. And the various colors for the woods. So I may add a little bit more ink. To me, this is a little bit redder, but I got heavy-handed on my sealer on that. But I still like it. I like the variation too. Yeah, so if you have a mess up, guys, like, what did you call it, Sue? A happy accident? It was a happy accident because I let the paint dry and I didn't do anything, and it just, I mean, it looks like you know how when you take a piece of wood and you hit it with chains and all to distress it and then you stain it? That's what it looks like. It's hard to pick up on camera, but it looks pretty cool. It reminds you of your cat. Anita, I have not had that type of issue. That's what I said. And all the stuff I've seen, I've never seen one not just stop cutting on one side. I've never seen that. Something's up. So I would definitely call support on that one. I would even shoot a video of it doing it so that you can forward that to them, because they're going to ask for it. Who knows? They may replace it. I can't say for sure, but they very well may just replace your machine. So, and I apologize, guys. I did get the file out, but it was late. Like I said, my back was really hurting badly yesterday, and I hate to take the pain meds they gave me, but I did, and it knocked me out till, well, I took it about 3 o'clock in the morning, and it knocked me out till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So, I got a late start today. But anyway, this is the card that we're going to do, and it's a pop-up card. And this card is available on the design tab for all patrons. If you're not a patron supporter, please consider supporting, and you have access to this file and many, many, many more. So, but it's a very easy file to recreate if you want to recreate the file. So, you're going to cut these in the file out of acetate, and I'm using the Cricut foil acetate. It's thicker and heavier duty than most. Hi, Karen. It shows as private, Karen. If you got the link up here in the top in the screen, it's going to. Did you get the one off of the design tab? This one in the video is not going to be a good number. It's going to be private, because that way other people watching the video can't get a Patreon file. Yes, Anita, I will show a finished card before I start. As a matter of fact, I forgot to bring them over, so I went and got them real quick. Yeah, so make sure, Karen, that you get it from the design tab. You have to be a patron to get it. It was off the design tab? Okay, give me 1 second and let me check that. And I'll be right back with you guys. And while that's pulling up, I will go back to the project camera to show you guys what we're doing. And this is the one that I did that was a test mock-up, and I'm going to tell you what not to do. And this one works really well, and I'll show you. This is the one we're going to make. So, and it folds flat, so you can mail it. I wonder why it's showing private. That's just weird. And the reason why, thank you so much, Karen. The reason why is I don't know why and how I did it, but I did mark it as private. Give me half a second here and you'll be able to get it. Refresh the page, Karen, and try to get it again. It should be ready now, and it should open for you. It should be fixed, guys. Yeah, you guys, you can make this with any holiday, for any holiday that you want. Just because Christmas is around the corner, that's why I chose it. And I like playing with the pretty Christmas papers. So, they are my favorites. And since that was like that, I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to pull that file up that needs it. So that they can put that together with us. And I am going to recap for all of you guys that were here. Was it last week we did the spirals? Yes. For everybody that was here, Gerald figured out something that will help us all. And I am going to recap and show that to you. Let me pull this over. When you're in Cricut a lot and you're doing your spiral, remember the first thing we did is we clicked on our shapes, got our spiral, we drew our spiral, we hit select and positioned it, and then we hit path and reverse the path so that it would start at the front of the spiral and not the inside. But when you're on that spiral and you're drawing it, oops, before you do that, let me if I can get back in there. Before you do that, if you pull that spiral out, notice up here the turns, the divergence, the inner radius, and clockwise. You can control all that right there. So you can take and do less spirals. You can do more spirals. So that if you just wanted your word to go on a curl like that, you can do that. You can add spirals to get as many as you want. And then reverse your path. And after you can go ahead and type your words. Again, we'll get text on a path. And I'm just going to do this one because I know it's there. And you can start, and this one's going the wrong way because I didn't counterclockwise it. Appearance, arrange, flip it. There we go. Oh, no. I forgot I didn't turn it clockwise. You have to turn it clockwise in the spiral. I haven't been in here in a week, guys. Well, I have, but not doing this. Let me get rid of those. But always when you're doing these, look up here for where your handles and stuff are, so that you make sure that there's not another tool that can assist you. And it's going to be where you set it last. Turn it clockwise, path. You have to select and then do the path. Reverse it. And then type. Oh, text on a path. And another thing that we discovered is after you've done this and you go to select, you can come back and change the text, and you can choose your text from there so that you're choosing stuff that will fill it in and you know where it's going to land. And you want to do that before you break it apart, because after you break it apart, you can't change it. So, great find, Gerald. Thank you so much for that. And again, you can change everything that you need to change up here in this toolbar. So guys, keep playing with it. We'll keep learning and share what you learn, and we'll go over it in the videos. But I just wanted to touch on that and show all of you guys that were here last week. I did do an update on a recap, and I put that video out, but some of you may not have seen that. So, for those of you who didn't. Okay, this is the card, guys, and this piece is going to be cut out of your sturdy cardstock, and I like the craft cardstock for this card. That's what you're going to cut this piece from. This is, I cut the blue ones came from the Cricut foil acetate. These I cut out of Cricut cardstock. Now, I did do on my first one. Yes, and you can change the text size too, Gerald. Thanks for mentioning that. But you can cut all this from cardstock. I cut it from Cricut. The first one I did, I cut this from party foil, so it would be pretty on both sides. And don't do that. I'm going to say it again. Don't do that. Hi, Debbie. And then I cut these from the shimmer papers because I thought they would be pretty. But at the same time, these were really long. I've shortened them. The longer you make these acetate pieces, you can make them whatever size you want. But the longer that you make them, the more flimsy it's going to become and top heavy. Okay? So if you're going to do that, don't put anything on the top. Because I designed this one so that we could put the Santa hat on the top. Right here. And you'll see why when we make it. And this one is reversed so that if you use pattern paper, it'll show up the same color on the other side. I didn't bother with this. It's a solid background. So you're going to cut your file, and then we're going to, of course, put it together. So let's go to the project camera. And here's my mock-up. And the craft paper works perfectly fine for this. A double-sided would be prettier because you can see the inside of it, but only if you turn it to the side. And that's the back. And then this is the front. And of course I put that acetate in backwards on one, and we're going to cover that too. But when I put my hat on the top of this one that I had cut from the shimmer papers, see if I can grab them here. It made it so top heavy that it flopped over and it wouldn't stand up. Okay, it just kept flopping over because it was just really too heavy. So I trimmed it off, and then of course after I trimmed it off, then these covered the Merry Christmas. So, but we've learned what to do and what not to do. And just remember, your shimmer papers are a lot heavier than your cardstock. So be mindful when you pick your image for the top. Maybe even put a snowflake with a smaller image. But you really need something on the top. On this one, again, I used craft cardstock and Cricut cardstock. And it stands up beautifully and has no problem. And it will lie flat and go in an envelope. So you can see that it stands up. Again, I didn't do the Merry Christmas on the back, but I just did a red piece on that to cover it and make it look nice at the top. And then you're just going to collapse it and you can mail it. Okay? So let's go ahead and start making one. And I'm going to show you on this one in a minute why I say it's important about your acetate and which way you use it. See if I can get some height so you guys can see this whole thing, because it's a little long. I'm going to try to, if I get off camera, you guys just shout, I'm off camera. But you're going to score on all the scores. And burnish it really good, guys. On this one, I folded it back and forth both ways, but I don't know if we need to. You can, but it's really not necessary if you want to fold it both ways. It's not going to hurt anything if you do. So now your piece should look something like this, okay? And that's simply just going to fold in here and we're going to glue it, but don't do that yet, okay? This is the top of the card, and while I have it flat, I am just going to, ooh, I don't want to put, I forgot I didn't put my metal tip on this. That's a lot of glue. I forgot about my metal tip. I meant to get a metal tip and forgot it. But it's just going to go between those two score lines right here on one of those narrow strips. So you can go ahead and do that part and let it be drying if you want to. Next, you want to take your foil acetate, and if you're using the Cricut, it does have a coating on one side to protect it so that when it doesn't get scratched. You're just going to peel that off. And you can see that you can tell when it's on and when it's off. One is much clearer. And this acetate is not going to matter, but depending on which one you pick, that's a pastel with the silver. If you pick the foil, it's got a color on one side and no color on the other. And your film is always on the color side to protect it so the color doesn't get scratched off. It makes a difference how you want it to show, because I put these on and I wanted my gold stars to show, and I put them on backwards, so I got silver stars. So you're going to have to pay attention to that if you have a double color acetate, because as you can see, now I have gold stars and silver stars showing on both, which is fine for me. So be mindful of how you want yours to show when you put your acetate in. You're going to need a stapler, just a small stapler. If you have one of those little brad staplers, craft staplers, that will work fine. And then you're just going to flip your card over. And you're just, into that slot, you're going to set that piece of acetate so that it's through the hole, okay? And then just lay it down and make sure that it's center of the slot. You have room to move. It's supposed to have room to move. And then, actually, just going to put it down there. It's easier for me to do if I hold it up. You want to have it flush on this piece just like this and run through so that you have it on this side. And then I just like to lay it down and make sure that I have it centered. So you're butting it up against this last score line and folding that over, and then you're just going to pick it up without moving it. And you're going to, and I moved it. You want it flush on the bottom. And you're just going to staple it. And then I'm just going to flip it around, make sure it's still flush on the other side, and staple that one so that you have one piece of acetate in there already, okay? And you shouldn't, if the acetate is on this side when you have it fished through, you've got it on the wrong side of your cardstock. So I'm just going to pull that one out. I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Just going to put it in the slot, bring it down to that first score line. I'm not going to staple this yet, guys. I'm going to run that other one through over it. And here's why. And you can do this first and then run it through. It doesn't matter, however you want to do it. Get you a small piece of washi tape. Trust me, you do want to do this. And make sure that the ends are even. And just tape them together for a moment. Okay? And then I just pull it through to this side. That way I know it's straight and lined up. It's not off because I've got them together. And then I'm going to bring it down and staple it in place. I really wanted it to stay in this slot. And then I'm going to fold that over. And then at that point you can pull it out and just staple it again. And that's all there is to it. Then you can just take your washi tape off and fish both pieces through. And when you pull them through, you should create a box like this. Looks like a bee. And they should be pretty even, pretty much at the front. And you're just going to glue these two tabs. Just going to glue them together. Make sure that they're even and flat and all that good stuff. And don't get the glue into your acetate. Yeah, Kathy, trying to get that film off, I found the easiest thing was just take my finger on the edge of it and just roll it back. I have tried the weeding tools, everything, and to me, that's just the easiest, and it doesn't scratch if you miss or anything. So, and I've already glued mine together, guys, but you're just going to take your white layer, you're going to put on your red layer, then you're going to put on your green layer for your Merry Christmas. And because it does show through on the other side with this one, I use just a dab of art glitter glue, and it dries clear and matte, but you can just barely see it. You don't need to glue the whole thing down. It's not going to go anywhere. So I just did 2 or 3 drops of glue on the back of this, like right there at the C, maybe on that Y right there, a little dab, and then down here on the S. And that's all the glue that I put on this piece for inside. And then you're just going to place it in the center or wherever it is you want it. And then make sure that you don't have it too low so that it's inside the card like mine. I'm going to pull it up just a little bit. And if your glue is a little bit smeared on the acetate, it's not going to show. I did it on this one and it doesn't show if you're using art glitter. Other glues, I don't know. At this point, I'm just going to press it flat and give that a little rub. This isn't quite dry. I'm just going to run another bead right there. I didn't give it time to set good. And if you're running your fingers in here, guys, to press this down to glue those bottom pieces, be careful and do not cut yourself on the staples. So now I have that. And then I just want to put my little Santa hat on in a bow. And the way that I did, nope, wrong, stop right there. You need just a tiny, tiny piece of red line tape to start with. I mean, just a dot. You don't need much. And then right there at the top of your acetate, just place it in there. This is where I have trouble. This is the thing I can't peel. I cannot peel red line tape. I don't care what I do. There we go. And then just smush your acetate together at the top so that it's not floppy and flipping everywhere. And then what I did is I took another strip of red line tape and went right across the top. Oh, I got lucky there. And I've already glued my little white pieces onto my hat. And you're just going to find how you want your hat to sit and press it on. Yay! Look how quick is this card. It's really quick and easy. And then I'm just going to lay it down where I can see. And just put a little bit of glue around the edge here. You don't need much. I'm getting more than I really wanted, but that's okay. Just going to glue that into place, making it even with the other one. And then your bow, you're done. And you can put whatever sentiment you want on the front piece. I didn't put one on here. I am just going to stamp a third, probably a green one, over the top of this with and stamp a sentiment on it. Or you can put from the Smiths or whatever your last name is. And I'm trying desperately to peel this Stampin' Up! Bow. I haven't had a problem peeling any of them till now. Oh, that's live for you, right? There we go. I really love these little bows from Stampin' Up! I think it was discontinued though. Oh, that's great. Now I stuck my paper to the other side. I'll never get that off. When all else fails, I'm just going to use a gold one. I'm going to use a different bow. Maybe I'll get this one right. Yay. And then I'm just going to lay it flat and place it right there so I know that I have it out of the way of the mechanism. And that's all there is to it, guys. Pop up. And fold flat for an envelope. I missed burnishing one side. That's what I did. I missed a burnish. Cute, cute, cute. And like I said, just be careful whatever you put on the top. I did not put these pieces on the back simply because it made it too top heavy. And that's why I say fold it backwards and forwards. I guess it does matter. I didn't do that with this one. This one I folded backwards and forwards. And it pops up and stands up perfectly fine. So you may want to do all your folds both ways. But of course, after it has some play with it, it's going to work fine too. Isn't it cute? I found it online somewhere. It was somebody's blog that was, I don't know, years old. But I haven't seen them in forever. Yeah, they're really cute and they're really quick. What size is the envelope? You could probably, it's going to depend on your top piece, Kathy. Whatever you choose for the top. Right here. That's what's going to make a difference. Now, if you leave that off, you don't have to worry. It will fold completely flat, and it looks like a 4x7 on that one. But that one is the one that I said that was too long. This one is like 4 by, so 4 1/4 by 7 1/2 will fit one with the Santa hat on it. So just resize any of the Design Space envelopes to a 4 1/4 by 7 1/2 and you should be fine. Which cute box, Debbie? The one that my camera's sitting on here, or do you mean these? These are just pop-up cards, greeting cards. And there was something else that I wanted to cover with you guys. Oh, I remember what it was. A lot of people have been asking about their projects and how they can find a font or something like that that they used in a project. So let me show you. Here we go. A couple of things. I'm just going to go to my projects, and you guys don't pay attention to all my crazy projects and half-done projects. When you have a, yeah, I don't even want that. That was, I had to help somebody figure out how to fix that. Let's say that I wanted this file here, which I just did a tutorial on how to make these guys, so you can make it anything you want, and this file is open for the public. If you click on your projects and you click on one, you get this pop-up, and you've got an arrow here, and it will tell you the shapes and the fonts that you used, even if you welded them. Okay, it will tell you. Let me find another one here where I had an uploaded font. Right here I had this one, and I clicked on it, and it didn't tell me what font I used. Okay, it showed me my Design Space images and that I had an uploaded image from my image set, but it didn't tell me what that font was. So if I go to customize and I go to my layers panel and click on it, click on the little scissors, your attributions panel pops up. And right here you'll see this information eye. If you click on that, it will open up and it will tell you, okay, the font I used was 2P's Heart's Delight. So you can find what every image and every font that you used in your projects simply by selecting on it and clicking your, oops, I can get rid of that one. Clicking on that and going to the information eye, and it will tell you what cartridge it's on, and you can even click it and go to that cartridge, guys. So if you're, anytime that you have a project and you can't remember what you used, there is a way to find it. Really quick, really simple, and easy to do. It is already sized. It's already sized. Joanne is Poochie Poo. It's already sized, but your envelope isn't. So if you want to do an envelope, you can come in here. Oops, I want to go to images. And select envelope. And let's just see. I'm going to probably choose one that looks long and skinny like this one. But this one's print and cut, but it doesn't matter. I'll select that one, or maybe even this one. I usually get a couple of them, and I'll show you why just in case. And so I'm going to insert that. Don't pay attention to my elephants here. This is not what we're putting in there. Let me just hide those. There we go. Okay. Brought it back up, didn't I? Okay. My design space is fixing to crash. In case anybody can't tell, that little blue square is a telltale sign. Mine still hasn't been fixed. I thought it was for a while, but it wasn't. When you bring your envelopes in, sometimes they're brought in and they look like this. And we know that we can't get our card in that little 3-inch envelope that is going to cut out of 3 inches of paper by 1-inch paper. So you have to enlarge it, okay? There we go. You have to enlarge it. But how do I get it to 4 1/4 by 7 1/2 that I need? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select a shape. I'm going to get a square, and this is going to represent my card when it's flattened and put together. And I'm going to come up here and unlock the size and make it 4.25 by 7.25. And this is why I get a couple of envelopes. Because I know when I stretch this to the point, I don't know why I keep doing that with my mouse, that this will fit in there, because I have to keep stretching it until my card will fit in that amount of space, because that's where the card's going to go. And now it fits. But when I look at the card, I've got to have 16-inch paper to cut this, guys. Actually, it's got to be 17 because I need that 1/2 inch on that Cricut has for allowance. Hey, Bonnie. So you'll either have to, because I can change this print and cut to a cut. It's just going to remove all the color. But what I would do if I wanted to use this exact envelope, I would slice this off right here and add a tail to it, is exactly what I would do. This is how I size my envelopes, and I do them when I need one that won't fit, so you guys can see. You either have to keep searching or you have to maneuver. So now I've got that right there at that score line, which is where I want it. I am going to select this. This is my card over here. And detach those score lines. I'm going to select them both and slice. I'm going to get rid of that. Don't need it. I'm going to get rid of that. I don't need it. Now, the front of my envelope will fit on a just over 10-inch sheet of paper. And then I have my tail, but how am I going to glue them back together, right? And that's where I come in and I get a hexagon. You can get whatever shape you want. And I don't need this because I've already sized the envelope, and I'm just going to slice that. Y'all get to see all the weird stuff I do with the Cricut shapes. Now I need it to be the width of that one, because this is what's going to glue on. These are the side tabs that it's going to glue to, so I'm not worried about any side tabs. I need that to be 4.521 wide. And I unlocked it so it would just widen it and not make it big and fat. Don't need it to be big and fat. Just going to lock it back and bring it over here. Sit it right on top. I'm going to align, center it horizontally, and weld. Oops. If that happens, just undo it. And just going to bump it down just a little bit. Please forgive my align, center horizontally, and weld. Oops, I'm still off. How did I do that? Because I couldn't see it. That's how. Let me undo. You just want to sit it down on the top of it. There we go. Align, center horizontally, and that should do it. I knew I was going to get an error. I told you it was coming. So now I have, you guys just bear with me. I'm just going to have to take this out of my file. This has been happening since I went from Sierra to Mojave. Stay on the page. Now I want to arrange, move that to the back, and I'm just going to leave that bottom score line. That doesn't bother me. And I'm going to attach that back on where it's supposed to be and get a shape, get a score line. I am going to rotate my score line 90 degrees, and I'm going to make it 4.521 wide. I'm going to sit it right there, align it center horizontally, and attach. Now in the real world, I'm going to make sure that this is sliced exactly even on the bottom, but that's how I do it. Now I have a two-piece envelope for my card. So I can just glue this tab to this piece, fold it over at that score line, and glue it to these two side tabs. There's my flap, and I'm done. Same thing with this one. This one's made a little bit different, so I don't know if you can. This one has the large wide tabs, which can make a difference sometimes, because that'll give you the shorter envelope without having to do all of that work, if you can get it to fit on a 12 by 12, and I don't think it's going to by the time that I get it to the height I need. Maybe it will. It's not going to be wide enough. I don't know if I can. Yeah, even though I've got the length that's still 12.458, so it wouldn't fit, I would still have to, on this one I would probably trim off the excess here of the pretty part and just put this piece over the top. That would give me that inch I need. Hey, Lucy. So does that help or confuse you on sizing an envelope for a card like that? But you can resize just about any envelope in Design Space. and make it work for your card. Just because it comes out and it's too big doesn't mean we don't have a workaround. We can slice it up and fix it. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, guys. I thank everybody for joining me. If you have any questions or anything that didn't get answered, please don't forget to message me or come and ask them in the groups. And I will see everybody on the next live. Bye, guys.